Speaking of Pac-12, let's talk more Pac-12. Let's talk Utah at Washington. Spread was 9.5. You were on Washington minus 9.5. I was on Utah plus 9.5. Whether or not you should have covered that is up for debate, of course. But first half, Utah comes out absolutely flying. 28 points in the first half. Yeah. Okay, Utah. All right, Utah. Let's hang a 50
21
burger on Washington. And then no.
the second
Second half.
quarter. That second quarter, they had 200 yards like passing in that second quarter. Like that was what? Bryson Barnes, who?
Yeah. Unfortunately, did not translate to the rest of the game. 0 points in the second half. 0 points in the fourth quarter from either team. Washington doing enough, making the adjustments on defense, and they continue to just find ways to win close games. They're 10-0. They are 10-0. Utah drops to 7-3. If you were to tell me Cam Rising did not play at all this year, one, I would not have taken Utah's over like 8 wins or whatever it was at. And I would not tell you that I would have told you that they're not 7-3 at this point. I would have said that they were worse than that. So credit to Utah's coaching staff still for one, making this a game against one of the favorites right now to make the college football playoffs, favorite to win the Pac-12 potentially. I'm just still impressed with job Kyle Whittingham is doing. But also got to be impressed with Kalen DeBoer. Once again, the staff finding a way to win a game. Ryan Grubb cooking up enough. Michael Penix playing at a high level. More passing yards for the guy. More touchdowns for the guy. So, I don't know. I mean, I don't really have a different opinion on either of these teams. Once again, I took Utah to win straight up, but saw it as a close game, and it was a close game. So,
No, that's not crazy at all. I do think Washington, like you mentioned, it just finding ways to win, and like that's what it's going to be the next 2 weeks at Oregon State. Just going to be a grinded out tough game, and then against Washington State, like that's a rivalry game. I know they're trending down, but also like that's when you get got against your rivals is when you don't expect it. And then you got to play Oregon probably in that Pac-12 championship game. Like that's what it comes down to is just like get it done, and then play your best football game again against Oregon. And we talked about this November was going to be a brutal stretch for them. USC, Utah, at Oregon State. That third game got to go on the road. We'll preview that game, obviously. That's going to be a tough game. But you mentioned it, Utah, tons of credit. That team just fights. Bryson Barnes, whenever you don't expect him to do something, he will. And obviously, Cam Rising, this team misses him. They miss their tight end. They miss everybody else hurt. But they're duct taping it together. They got a chance to win 9 games, which is just incredible. Just incredible.
yeah. I mean, look, Utah had a chance to tie the game in that third quarter. They were driving until that pick six happened, right? They were driving. They had a legit chance. To tie that game at 35. Bryson Barnes was a pick. Basically in the red zone. They were on the 24-yard, 25-yard line, whatever that was. So, good job, both these teams. This was a good game. I enjoyed watching it. I guess we'll see these teams. Future outlook for Washington. Of course, they play at Oregon State. Not an easy game at all in Corvallis. We'll be previewing that game more than likely. And then you got your home game against a in-state rival in Washington State, who, look, Washington State has not lived up to what we thought they were going to be this year, especially at the first 4 games. But they'll get up for that game. For sure. So, interesting there. And then Utah ends the season at Arizona. Not a tough game. Very tough game. That game's at a pick 'em right now. Because both those are very talented teams, and Arizona's hot. And then they get Colorado at home. So, Utah obviously already bowl eligible. The question is, can they win 8? Can they win 9 games? Still a lot to play for, I think, for this Utah team. And Kyle Whittingham always finds something to play for. So,
yeah,
I'm excited to watch the rest of the way.
I do want to mention, like, in this game, in terms of, like, what actually happened, Utah could not run the ball really outside of, that first and second quarter, and Washington could. Dylan Johnson, again, had a really nice day against a good defense, a good front in Utah. And, like, they're going to need him to go and get against Oregon, right? And Oregon State next week, obviously. That's very encouraging. After we thought maybe this is going to be a problem for them, losing their starting running back out for the year in fall camp. No, this has been nice to see Dylan Johnson really start to get it done.